Welcome back. When life throws you a curveball, sometimes it can get overwhelming to deal with it all on your own. Christopher is here with the Advocates to share his own experience in the sponsored interview. But first, I want to start, Christopher, who are the Advocates?
So the Advocates are we're a personal injury firm here in Utah. You know, we have offices in several states, in Montana and Idaho and Wyoming and in Washington State and Nebraska. We're opening up more offices, you know, around the country. And but we're a personal injury law firm that specializes in injury cases where people are injured in an accident and it's not their fault.
Okay, so we're going to get personal for a moment, Christopher, because you have your own accident story to talk about and why advocates are so important.
Yeah, you know, we've sponsored this segment for a long time, you know, and one common theme that we always hear is people that, you know, they've experienced something in their life and they've seen a need and that they want to try to address in the community to be able to help out other people. You know, when I was a kid, about 8 years old, I was in an accident and I lost my left eye. So I actually don't need glasses. These are like, I use them to kind of hide, but I have a prosthetic left eye. And I lost it when I was a kid, and the insurance company that you know, of this, you know, where it happened, reached out to my parents, and, you know, my parents did the best job that they could, and, you know, they settled with the insurance company. And I've often shared this experience and talked about, you know, what's the value of an eye? You know, how much is an eye worth? And you know, we get kind of these varying amounts, but the insurance company, you know, settled with my parents for $10,000.
Which isn't a lot when you talk about multiple surgeries.
Yeah, you know, I've had multiple, so this is a picture when I was in 3rd grade. This is about a couple of weeks after it happened.
With an eye patch, right?
With an eye patch on. Oh. And, you know, but I've had multiple surgeries, multiple prosthetics. I mean, the insurance companies, you know, they know the value of what these things are worth, you know, and they kind of take advantage of the goodwill of some of these people and not wanting to create any controversy or be litigious, you know, and they take advantage of people, you know, and unfortunately I think that's what happened to, you know, my parents to some extent.
And $10,000 just not even, you know, scratches the surface when it comes to multiple surgeries throughout your life, because this happened when you were little.
Yeah.
So you have had different prosthetics and things that you've had to change with your body.
Yeah, you know, you grow as an 8-year-old, you grow and you get bigger and you need, you know, more prosthetics for your eye, and so I've had about 6 over the years. This is a picture. This is me without it the other day. You can't really tell, but
oh wow! So you can take it out.
I can take it out.
No way, Christopher. And I had no idea because you hide it really well.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know looking at you. So doctors have done a great job. But the point of the story is that your parents' goodwill, and that's what they thought and only knew at the time. But if they were represented, perhaps things could have been a lot easier financially.
Yeah, you know, and a case like mine probably would have never even gone to a courtroom. You know, it would have probably been resolved long before that ever happened. You know, but you know, ultimately, you know, what this kind of inspired me, this going through this experience inspired me to do is, you know, give people a fair shot. You know, make sure that people get full compensation, you know, when they're injured in an accident and it's not their fault. You know, we want to make sure that people, you know, get what they deserve, you know, because they're not the ones at fault, you know, and you know, they're not the ones that caused their injury, and we just want to make sure that they, you know, get what's fair to them.
And Christopher, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that there's a fight there, that you might deserve more, and just giving you a call, giving maybe some representation could help you.
Yeah, at least some advice and direction, you know, to be able to help people out understand what their rights are and, you know, what the law entitles them to. And, you know, that's what we're in the business of doing is, you know, make sure people are made whole again, so to speak.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And another great thing that your law firm does is you recognize people in the community who are advocates and who fight for the people who may not have a voice or think they have one.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. That's why it's fun coming on here, is we want to, you know, kind of level up, you know, and it's recognizing people in the community that are making a difference, because, you know, we recognize it makes Utah a better place.
Thank you so much, Christopher.
Thanks.